On one side of my van, it says, "My governor is an idiot." On the other side, it says, "Time to water the tree of liberty?" Question mark. And on the back, it says, "Sic semper tyrannis." Good day, everybody. It's Memorial Day. My day has been spent going downtown Richmond to take part in a motorcade protest. I have to say I was disappointed in the turnout. Then I come home, I'm mowing my lawn, as I am wont to do from time to time. And a neighbor of mine pulls up in front of the house. He says, "Hey, I'm glad I caught you out in the yard." Said, "I just wanted you to know I really like the messages you have on your van." Now, some of you already know about this if you read my Facebook page, but on one side of my van, it says, "My governor is an idiot." On the other side, it says, "Time to water the tree of liberty?" Question mark. And on the back, it says, "Sic semper tyrannis." Now, he lives across the street and a couple of doors down from me, so he's not a neighbor I see very often. And he doesn't catch me out in the yard a lot like some of the other neighbors when I'm out there mowing the lawn. He said, "I just wanted you to know, I really appreciate it." He said, I hadn't had a chance to talk to you. I didn't realize you were a patriot." Okay. And he came closer to the car, and we started having a conversation. I was telling him how I went downtown this morning, etc. And he said, "Yeah, my wife is from Cuba, and we're Hispanic." He said, and we're always talking about the fact that what's going on in America now is the kind of crap that went on in Castro's Cuba in the late 50s and early 60s. And now, here's a Hispanic man. His wife is from Cuba. She escaped there. And they came here to be free. Are you listening to me? Liberals, progressives, Democrats, and even some of you statist Republicans who think the government's supposed to do everything for you. They came here to be free. Now imagine, if you will, that you left a socialist/communist country to come here to enjoy the freedom that is America, only to see what is going on now. And this isn't new. What's happening now, especially with the COVID virus, is not new. This has been going on for many years now. In fact, I'm going to cover some of this stuff in a few minutes. A couple of friends of mine who helped me with my congressional campaigns from Russia came here to be free. Imagine how they must feel. One of them, a young man, I won't mention his name, I'm not trying to put pressure on anybody here, was one of the very first people to call me during my first campaign for Congress as an independent. He said, "Look, I've seen your Facebook page, I've seen your blog, I really like your message of liberty, and I'd like to help your campaign." Great. Come on board. Now imagine that same young man looking at America today and what we are becoming and going, "What the hell? I left Russia to get away from this, and you're bringing it here." So one point I'd like to make is, if you know any people who immigrated here from another country to become naturalized citizens, ask them why. Talk to them. Find out why they came here, and then ask them what they think about what they see now. You might not like some of the stuff they have to say, but you need to hear it. Now, as I move forward with this video, some of you are not going to like what I have to say. Some of you, and this is nothing new, but both right and left, Some of you are going to be offended. You're going to get mad at me. You may even have some things to say to me that I may not like to hear. But you need to listen to what I'm about to say. This is Memorial Day. On Memorial Day, I'm not going to use the word celebrate or any of those types of words. We commemorate, we memorialize those who died, quote unquote, fighting for our freedom. Even today, you hear people talk about, well, our military is out fighting for our freedom. Now, we're told they're fighting for our freedom. They're over in Afghanistan. There are still some of us in Iraq, still on the continent of Africa, in different countries in Africa, as if our freedom is over there. That's what they're fighting for, our freedom. The people, soldiers, men and women, lying in cemeteries across our nation, lying in cemeteries across the ocean, are being memorialized for fighting and giving their lives for our freedom. Let me ask you something. Do you feel free? Do you? Think about what America was founded to be. Think about what it is meant to be. Think about the evolution. And bear in mind, we're still a young country. We're babies compared to the rest of the world. What are we, 240 some years old? I don't know the exact number. I should. So you compare us to England, you compare us to France, most of the Eastern Bloc of Europe, Russia, China. We're babies. We're still learning. But the Constitution, our Declaration of Independence, our form of government that was created by our founders, allows for that evolution. We learn as we go along. We're trying to get better. We're trying to be smarter. We're trying to be a better culture, better people. Racism is one of the prime examples of that. We used to have slavery in this country. We don't have slavery anymore. We used to have Jim Crow laws. We got rid of those in 1964. Racism's still there. I'll grant you. There are still racist people in this country. But there's no longer institutionalized racism. It's not legal. Okay? So we're learning. We're getting better. Or we were. But look at us now. Now here's where I want you to hear me. Think about what I'm about to say. While our military is all over the world fighting for our freedom, why are we still losing our freedom? Why are we less free today than we were yesterday? Oh, but Floyd, we're freer here than you would be anywhere else in the world. I hear that all the time. Okay, freer. Take the R off the end, freer. We're not free, we're freer. That's like saying, well, he's got testicular cancer or he's got colon cancer. One's not as bad as the other, right? I mean, you've got one's less painful than the other. One's less deadly than the other. You're either free or you're not. There is no freer. We're freer than somebody else. That's not the way it's supposed to work. Now, my freedom has not been taken away from me by some terrorist over in Afghanistan. I mean, we got Osama bin Laden, didn't we? Isn't that why we went to Afghanistan? Because that's where we thought he was. Well, Obama told us he got him. So if you believe Obama, then that terrorist is gone. Well, but there's still the Taliban, and there's still ISIS, and there's all these other terrorist groups around the world. I got a news flash for you, folks. Not a single one of those terrorist groups has taken away one of my rights. Not a single ISIS member, Taliban member, none of them have taken more money out of my paycheck. Every time I lose a right, every time another law is passed, excuse me, that restricts my liberty, it's coming from right here in the United States of America, from Americans, elected by Americans. They pass a law. Right now in Virginia, with the COVID thing going on, our little tyrant governor, Blackface Northam, just can't pass up the chance to issue more edicts. Now the word is tomorrow, Tuesday, he's going to issue another edict that we must wear masks when out in public. Hey, genius, we're over 2 months into this COVID thing. Now you're going to issue a mandate for masks? The hell is wrong with you? Are you going to fight teenage pregnancy by demanding that kids use condoms after the girl gets pregnant? You're a freaking idiot. And the people who support you and voted for you and continue to make excuses for you are idiots. They want to be slaves. They want their rights taken from them. They want Big Daddy government taking care of them. Shame on all of you. I don't even begin to understand how people think that way. But let's go down the list here. I want you to see what I'm talking about when I talk about how our rights are being taken from us. Let's look at some examples. And these are some minor offenses to begin with. I'll get into the bigger stuff in a minute. Think of all the permits and licenses you need from the government, local, state, federal, to do anything. Think about it. Make a list sometime. Sit down and make a list of all the things you need to have the government's permission to do. Does that sound like a free country when you have to get government permission? Despite the fact that we have a Second Amendment, you need to get the government's permission and actually pay them money to be able to carry a concealed firearm. Now, there are some states where you can open carry. You don't need a permit for that. There are some states where you can't even open carry. But think about it. Second Amendment and what it says. And we need the government's permission. Did you know, this fascinates me, it takes longer to get a license to cut hair than it does to become a police officer. Let me show you something here. Police Academy. The average length of time required to complete an academy training is 21 weeks or 840 hours. Now, if you want to cut hair, it's from 1,000 hours of training in New York to 1,600 hours of training in California to cut hair. And you need to get the government's permission to get a license to cut hair. Now, you're saying, well, Floyd, yeah, you want somebody who's cutting hair to have some training? Sure, I do. But do they need a government permit? If I go to somebody who cuts my hair and they do a shit job, guess what? I'm not going back. I don't need the government to tell me this guy's not qualified. Yeah, they may screw my hair up one time, but they're only going to screw it up one time. Okay? You need the government's permission. All right, let's look at some major offenses. Now, this is stuff that's not new. This is not Donald Trump stuff. This is not even, excuse me, in many cases, it's not even Barack Obama stuff. This is stuff that happened back during the Bush administration or before. All right, you with me? National Defense Authorization Act. Detention without due process. You remember that one? You can be detained by the U.S. government if they think you might have some sort of terrorist ties without due process. You don't get a lawyer. You don't get to talk to a lawyer. You can't make a phone call. You can't see your family. They can hold you as long as they want and not even give you a reason why. Does that sound like a free country? And that was a Republican president who signed that into law. That was a bunch of Republicans in Congress who worded it and voted for it and passed it. So, you know, if you want to blame everything on the liberals and the Democrats, you go ahead and keep overlooking the fact that your party's screwing things up too. Patriot Act, spying without warrants. Anybody remember that? Is the government still spying on you? You and me. Not terrorists. Not some guy over in Afghanistan. You and me. Spying on us because maybe we've talked about things like the Constitution and limited government and individual liberty. Think I'm crazy? Stick with me here. I got more. Asset forfeiture. That's one we love. Donald Trump supports asset forfeiture. I can show you the video. If you want to doubt me, make a comment in the comments section. Tell me I'm full of crap, and I'll bring up the video for you. Donald Trump is all for asset forfeiture. The police can take your property, whether it's your car, your house, money. If you have too much money, if they think you're carrying too much cash on you, they can take that cash because it may be drug money. And you try getting it back. Go ahead. Look it up. You think I'm crazy? Go ahead and look it up. See if I'm lying to you. Red flag laws. Well, we know we've got that in Virginia now. What's wrong with red flag laws? I'll tell you what's wrong with them. All it takes is a phone call. If I want to have the police raid your house, kick your door in, possibly shoot you, all I got to do is make a phone call. That guy said some bad things about Governor Northam, and he's got guns, and he's kind of crazy. Oh, we'll be right there. No investigation. They're just going to come kick your damn door in, take your guns from you, and if you resist, they'll just shoot you. Okay, free country. Yeah, land of the free, home of the brave. You can be labeled a terrorist if you meet these qualifications. Let me, oh, you're going to love this one. Now, this goes back again to the Bush administration, so this isn't something new. All right, where's my list? Come on. Here we go. Below is a list of 72 types of Americans that are considered to be extremists and potential terrorists in official U.S. government documents. This was published by the Department of Homeland Security and sent out to police departments across the country. Here are just some of the things that qualify you as a potential domestic terrorist. You ready? You talk about individual liberties. Ooh, that's crazy stuff right there. Anyone who advocates for states' rights. Those that want to make the world a better place. You think I'm kidding? You can look it up. All right? Before you start with the snarky, smart-ass comments, look it up. Those that are interested in defeating the communists. Now think about that. If you talk about defeating the communists, you could be a potential domestic terrorist. What? Anyone who holds a political ideology that considers the state to be unnecessary, harmful, or undesirable. Those that take action to fight against the exploitation of the environment and or animals. Hey, liberals, that's you, right? Because we all know everybody on the right and Republicans hate the environment and they want to kill animals. So there's one for you liberals. If you're anti-gay, anti-immigrant, anybody involved in the quote-unquote patriot movement, anybody who supports Second Amendment rights, and the list goes on. This can apply to liberals, it can apply to conservatives, Republicans, Democrats, pick one. You still think you live in a free country? Was it the Taliban who did that? Was it Osama bin Laden who did that? Libertarian writer Lawrence M. Vance, excuse me while I read this to you, in his latest book, The Free Society, says that Americans live in a relatively free society, relatively free. He notes on the cover of his book, now see if this reminds you of anybody, see if this sounds like anyone that you know. Most Americans think they live in a free society. They think that because they can find 50 varieties of salad dressing at the grocery store, choose from among 100 types of wine at the liquor store, select a television channel from over 1,000 choices, Yeah, man. Download any movie or song they want from the internet and sit at home for hours playing the latest video game that they live in a free society. He left out sports ball. You get to go to your sports ball games or watch it on TV. As long as I get to watch my games, we're good. They are oblivious to the extent of government encroachment on their freedoms. They are complacent when it comes to government edicts, and they are ignorant as to what a free society really means. Sound like anyone you know? Sounds like a hell of a lot of people I know, I'm sad to say. So, on this Memorial Day, as angry as it may make you to hear me say it, we're not free. We're not free anymore. And so you have to ask yourself, was it worth it? Are all of those dead Americans who were fighting for our freedoms worth it? Did they give up their lives for nothing? Because if we continue the way we are, it will have been for nothing. And, excuse me. And I don't want it to be for nothing. So you people better wake the hell up.